Guys, Liverpool are not a poorly coached side. That performance and that result have finally put all that talk to bed. For weeks we kept hearing the same thing again and again, that this team has no clear plan, that the coaching is not good enough. Well, after this game, those shouts just do not hold up anymore. And in a bit, we are going to break down exactly why. Yes, the results and performances have been inconsistent at times. We're not denying that, but against Sunderland and now against Brighton, we saw a very decent side that looked organised, confident, and clear in what they wanted to do. A 3-0 win takes us into the next round of the FA Cup is not something you should just brush aside. These games can easily become tricky if you are not prepared. And honestly, Slott's game plan and coaching played a huge part in at least 2 of the goals we scored on the night. We might sound like we are overhyping this win, right? Well, stick with us, hit that like button and subscribe button, and let us explain exactly what we saw and why it matters. Even before changes compared to the Sunderland game, it was clear from the start that Slot was taking this FA Cup tie very seriously. This was not a throwaway lineup. Alisson stayed between the posts, which already tells you a lot about the intention. Kerkez and Curtis Jones operated as the fullbacks, with Virgil and Kanate holding things down at centre-back. In midfield, Gravenberch was given a rest, and instead we saw McAllister, Szoboszlai and Florian Wirtz forming the trio. That midfield had balance, energy and control. Up front, the line was fluid. Chiesa, Salah and Gakpo were constantly moving, switching positions and making it hard for Brighton to settle. Ikatike was also on the bench, giving Slot another option if needed. From that lineup alone, you could already see that this was a team set up to win properly and not just scrape through. The game actually started in a pretty even way. In fact, some would say Brighton were the better side in that first 10 to 15 minutes. But even during that spell, the signs of a well-coached side were already there. Let us show you why. This was one of our possession sequence around the 20th minute of the first half. Pay attention to the narrow positioning of Kerkez here. For a fullback and especially someone with his profile, that looks unusual at first. You expect him to be hugging the touchline, stretching the pitch. So why is he standing so narrow? The reason is very simple, but very smart. By moving inside, he drags Brighton's right winger with him and pins him into the central area. That winger now has a decision to make, and most of the time he follows his man. From there, Kerkez can start to control his marker's movement. The whole idea is to free up space out wide and isolate Gakpo against Brighton's fullback. Once that winger is dragged inside, that wide channel becomes much easier to access. And that is exactly what happens. But it does not stop there. We all know Gakpo is not the flashiest winger. He is not the type who will beat 3 players with tricks. And he is also not the strongest in pure 1v1 situations. So instead of leaving him alone in a tough battle, why not give him support and turn it into a 2v2? That is exactly what Kerkez does as soon as the pass from Van Dijk reaches his target. The moment the ball travels, Kerkez reacts. He pushes forward with perfect timing. Now Gakpo only needs the smallest bit of separation from his marker, and once he creates that tiny gap, he bursts into the open space and runs past his own marker. Suddenly, Brighton have 2 players to deal with instead of 1. And the whole situation becomes much more dangerous for them. This idea of creating 2v2 situations was not something we did once or twice. It was actually one of the main ways we threatened Brighton throughout the game. On the left side, it was Kerkez and Gakpo. On the right side, it was Salah with Szoboszlai or sometimes Wirtz supporting him. The pattern was clear. Isolate the winger, give him support at the right time, and force Brighton's fullbacks into tough decisions again and again. It was simple, but it was very effective. Now, some might ask, what if Brighton adjusted? What if they decided to add an extra player and turn those 2v2 situations into a 3v2 in their favour? What if they dropped another midfielder or winger to create more protection? Well, that is where the coaching really shows, because we had a solution for that as well. In this moment, you can see Brighton outnumbering Gakpo and Kerkez on the left side. It's no longer a clean 2v2. They have an extra body there. Gakpo and Kerkez still try to combine with a quick pass and move sequence, but Kerkez decides not to force it. Instead of losing the ball in the crowded area, we stay calm, So what was the answer? Look at Dominic's deeper positioning. He is not there by accident. He drops into that space to offer balance and to give us a safe option to recycle possession. That way, we do not lose control. We keep Brighton pinned in their own half. From that deeper spot, with his passing quality, he is able to switch the play quickly to the right-hand side, and once the ball travels, we apply the exact same 2v2 idea again, just on the opposite flank. Now it is Salah and Wirtz on that side. Pay attention to Wirtz here. He checks his marker and reads the situation. Instead of running too close to Salah and crowding the same space, he makes an underlapping run. That movement keeps Salah isolated against his fullback, which is exactly what you want. On this side is Jones, who stays a bit deeper to offer balance, just like Szoboszlai did on the other side. When the ball reaches Jones in space, he has time to set himself, and his left-footed shot almost finds the corner. Now, these are the clear signs of good coaching. Players know when to move and when to stay. They know when to isolate their winger and when to sit deeper and give balance. These things do not happen on their own. There is a lot of work going on behind the scenes at the training ground. Patterns are repeated, movements are drilled, the players are given clear roles and clear triggers, and all of the work paid off with our first goal of the night. Let us break it down. Once again, you can see Kerkez taking up that narrow position. That is not random. It is the same idea we talked about before, to isolate Gakpo out wide. But Brighton were not sleeping. You can clearly see their player getting ready to drop and turn it into a numbers advantage for them. They were trying to block the 2v2 before it could fully develop. This time it was McAllister who offered the balance behind the play. He positioned himself perfectly to be the extra option. Gakpo finds him with the pass, keeping the move alive instead of forcing something risky. Yes, we were a bit lucky that the interception fell straight back to Kerkez, who then delivered the assist. But in football, you often create your own luck. When you keep asking questions, when you keep putting the opponent under pressure in these 2v2 situations, mistakes can happen, deflections can fall your way, rebounds can land perfectly. If we were not constantly probing those areas and repeating the same patterns, that chance would never have existed in the first place. So now, are you convinced that we are a well-coached side on the ball? Or do you still need more proof? Well, no problem. Let us talk more about the second goal of the night, and what a goal it was. A real beauty. And guess what? It came from creating these same situations once again. The sequence starts once again with a 2v2 situation on the left side, but this time pay close attention to the counter movement between Gakpo and Kerkez. One drops short to offer himself a safe option, while the other pushes higher up the pitch. That movement alone already forces Brighton's defenders to make a decision. Do they follow the man dropping deep, or do they track the runner going forward? At the same time, Wirtz positions himself smartly and is ready to drag another Brighton player out of the defensive line. All of this happens in a few seconds. This is how we manipulated their structure, and that space is exactly what allowed Gakpo to receive the ball in a good area and play the pass that switched the attack. Once the ball goes to the right side, we see the same idea again. Another 2v2 situation, this time with Salah and Szoboszlai. But what really makes the difference here is Szoboszlai's run. He times it perfectly and explodes into space. His marker can simply not keep up and gives Salah the option he needs. When the ball reaches him, Szoboszlai does the rest. A powerful and clean strike that ends up as yet another wonder goal in a growing collection. From that moment on, we controlled the game. Yes, Brighton had a few chances here and there. No team dominates every single minute, but they never truly looked like they were going to come back. When Salah stepped up to take the penalty and made it 3-0, well, that was pretty much it. Now look, let us clear something up. We're not saying Slot is flawless, far from it. Our structure out of possession and our overall defensive approach still needs improvement, and that responsibility falls on him. There are moments where we look too open and too easy to play through. That is fair criticism. But the claims that he is a poor attacking coach are simply exaggerated. Throughout this season, and as we've said in many of our videos, a lot of the poor performances on the ball come down to bad execution, poor decision making in key moments, and a lack of chemistry between players. Add to that the serious injury problems we've had to deal with, and the picture becomes a little bit more clearer. So overall, guys, this was a performance that showed clear ideas, and that is what we've been asking for and wanting to see. Are we the finished product? No. There are still things to fix, especially without the ball. But when it comes to our attacking play, the signs are very encouraging. The movements are coordinated, the spaces are being created on purpose, and when the execution matches the idea, we look like a very dangerous side. Now, it is about consistency. Can we repeat this level in the next game? Can we build momentum from here? That is the real test. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and are you convinced by what you are seeing? And if you enjoyed today's breakdown, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. We really are getting close to that 40,000 subscriber mark.